The economy is now stable. President Ruto insists. A statement echoed by his treasury. A strong recovery, remarkable, resilience. It's the official story, plastered on every billboard and sung on every government press conference. It's the image of a national luxury car accelerating smoothly towards prosperity. But here's the truth you live every single day. This isn't a single country. It's not a one country. It's two Kenyas, separated by a financial chasm. On one side, the official narrative drinks champagne. Sadly, on the other, the reality literally starving daily. Right now, as they talk of stabilization, 2.8 million Kenyans are struggling with acute food insecurity. IPC Phase 3 or even worse as of mid-2025. This isn't a slowdown, it's a national crisis. So whose economy is recovering? And who is paying for this extremely expensive and meticulously crafted PR campaign? Stick around, because we are about to expose the numbers they sincerely hope you never connect to your life. Because you see, the only miracle here is the audacity of their deception. Welcome back to the Kenyan Week That Was. I'm your host, DY. I know it's been a while, but we are back and we should be dropping episodes every week. So let's start with the government favorite song. GDP will grow by 5.3 to 5.6%. You know, that's a bold promise. The World Bank and the IMF, however, paint a more realistic picture, projecting closer to 4.5 to 4.8 for 2025. But even those numbers are a hollow victory. Because you see, our latest look at the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics quarterly report of Q1 of 2025 showed real growth at about, give or take, 4.9%. A pace that simply matched the 4.9% from the year before. The rocket isn't soaring. It is holding steady, while the rhetoric out there pretends that it is orbiting Mars. Now, let's translate that 4.9 into food, or your food and my food on actual tables in Kenya. Because that's the only place economic growth really matters. You see, GDP measures total wealth, but it completely ignores who gets to eat this said wealth. It's the 5-star kitchen that cooks 100 steaks but only serves one guest, and then proceeds to throw the rest into the bin. While the spreadsheets look good, the human cost looks absolutely catastrophic. In the projections period for 2025, mid-2025, over 250,000 Kenyans, roughly 292,000 individuals were in emergency. You know, they were classified as IPC Phase 4. You see, the stage just before famine. This is a full-blown humanitarian crisis, hidden carefully inside economic forecasts. The fruits of growth never trickle down. They evaporated on their way from the spreadsheets to our Kenyan streets. Let's look at the job mirage, for instance. You know, an economic miracle with no decent jobs is just a complete mirage in the desert. We were promised 500,000 new formal jobs every year. That was what they ran in their manifesto. But here's the reality. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Economic Survey of 2025, of the 782,300 new jobs created in 2024, the formal sector contributed a mere 78,600. That's 10%. And over 90% of all new jobs, they were all in the informal jungle. And my guy, the jungle is brutal. It means no contract, no NSSF, no sick days. It means the majority of the Kenyan workforce, a staggering 83.6% of all the workers, are one sickness away, one bad harvest, one tax raid away from total collapse. the government didn't just fail on the quality or the quantity of their jobs. They fundamentally failed on the quality and the dignity of work. You see, the collapse of the job quality is magnified by the cruelest government spin of all: inflation. Ministers are out here proudly declaring inflation has cooled to 4.5%. This is a lie of omission. Inflation cooling does not mean prices are dropping. It means they are rising slower than before. It's a driver celebrating that he has eased off the accelerator, even as the car remains terrifyingly close off the cliff. Once that bag of maize flour jumps from 100 to 200 shillings, it never comes back. It stays there. The year's prices rose faster than wages have permanently dismantled your purchasing power. While the ministers celebrate, your salary is still trying to catch a train that left the station 3 years ago. And now, we get to the dark heart of the problem: the national debt. Kenya's debt to GDP ratio sits at roughly 68.3% as of mid-2025. This isn't just an abstract accounting figure. It is a financial vacuum cleaner hovering over the treasury. For the year 2024-2025, the National Treasury projected total interest payments alone at a staggering 1.1 trillion shillings. That is a number that should shock you into silence. Before 1 shilling can be allocated to a school, a hospital, or a job-creating project, the creditors are paid. That 1.1 trillion shillings is more than double the country's typical development budget. We're not investing in our future. We are hemorrhaging funds to pay for the mistakes of the yesteryears. When this much of your income is immediately diverted, people, you cripple your ability to invest in your own future. And when disaster inevitably strikes, what is the government response? The safety net. It sounds compassionate until you check the facts. The average monthly payment for a family in an extremely poverty cash transfer program is about or around 3,000 bob. That's a mere $20. That is a piece of a string. It might buy a few bags of flour, but it can't pay rent. Neither can it buy enough medicine for you when one of your loved ones are sick, or even pay school fees for your kids. It's a gesture so insultingly small, it tells you everything you need to know about where the government's true priorities lie. Let me bring it to focus. Because you see, if the economy is growing, who is benefiting? The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Q1 2025 report shows growth concentrated in the services sector. You know, your information and communication and your financial services. This is a bonanza for the major shareholders, those people who are running huge stock, and the people that live in penthouses, downtown Westlands or Lavington. But for the vast majority of the country, the nearly 70% of the rural population who rely on agriculture, this boom is happening somewhere in mass. The largest sector, agriculture, grew at a modest 6%. But even that growth remains structurally fragile. This isn't a shared prosperity. It is a specific, narrow enrichment program that leaves the majority pressed against the glass looking in. If you remember those guys who didn't have TVs back in the 90s, it's like peeping through your neighbor's window to watch WWE. Worse, the entire foundation of this agricultural economy is being eroded by an unvoted for levy. The climate tax. Consecutive failed rainy seasons have caused climate shocks that are very key, that are a key driver for food insecurity and conflict. You simply cannot build a sustainable economy on parched earth. And any honest economic plan, would prioritize resilience or water harvesting and climate-smart agricultural projects. But instead, the government prioritizes glossy roads, while the ground around it, sadly, turns to dust. Kenyans, when an economy is genuinely booming, investments pour in. But what are we seeing? Whatever we are seeing currently is the absolute opposite. Widespread reports of small businesses that are closing down and multinational giants, sharks who follow the money like Procter & Gamble or GlaxoSmithKline are either reducing operations or completely shutting down. If the local mamamboga is struggling and the foreign capital is sprinting for the exit, the market is sending an undeniable signal. The pie is shrinking. And here's the rotten core of it all. In politics, it is cheaper and easier to manage perception than it is to actually fix deep structural problems. It is cheaper for them to hire a PR firm than to actually eradicate poverty. You see, politicians will always choose the easy optics over the hard work. They build narratives of success, hoping that if they say it enough, the people or the wananchi will eventually believe it, even if their pockets scream the opposite. While they manage the narrative, the underlying problems continue to fester. So, let's bring it all home. Any economy where millions of people are in crisis or in emergency levels of acute food insecurity, as described in IPC Phase 3 or 4, is not a miracle. It is a maintenance emergency. It is a house divided against itself, and a house divided can never, ever stand. GDP graphs can go up however you want them. They can look beautiful on PowerPoint slides, but until growth is felt by the tea picker in Nandi, or until the cost of living eases for the trader in Isili, or until the Kenya shillings 1.1 trillion debt interest payment for year 2024-2025 is meaningfully reduced, the applause is not just premature. It's a moral failure. The true measure of a nation is not the size of its GDP, but the dignity of its most vulnerable citizen. We must reject the seductive myth of the economic miracle and demand accountability for the harsh realities that we live. The myth ends when the majority speak. This is not just an economic debate. This is a fight for the soul of this country. Until real, equitable change takes root, this so-called miracle remains a complete and utter myth. And we must, again I repeat, we must treat it as such. Kenyans, the call is clear. Demand the facts, reject the spin, and make the economy work for everyone and not just the few who have political connections. So, if you found this breakdown of Kenya's economic reality useful, if you are tired like I am of the spin and want some accountability, please share this video. Get it out there. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep demanding the facts. Because that's the only way things will finally change. See you next time, and as always, system your facts. I've been your host, DY. Keep it locked, and God bless Kenya.